All right, we are live. This is Wednesday, May 10th. I had the wonderful privilege to meet Martin and Oliver. Actually, I believe it was almost a year ago, where they actually joined me to do a awesome drive through the Marine Headlands. Specifically, Martin and Oliver, they did an epic 20,000-mile trip all the way from Alaska. Here, let's just show a quick picture. Literally all the way from Alaska to the bottom of Argentina, specifically a town called Patagonia. They did this 20,000-mile journey in 6 to 7 months. And we're going to talk to them what it's inspired them. And they did it in a Model 3 and a Model X. It's truly such an epic journey, and I am so excited to share their story with everyone today. So let's bring in Martin. What's up, Martin?
Hello, John. Hello, everyone.
Oliver, what's going on?
Hey, John. Thanks for having me. All good here.
Awesome. Well, let's just get straight into it. Like, what led you to come up with this insane idea to bring two electric cars, literally not even down a supercharger network, uh, drive? Like, you literally went through. Again, I'm going to keep showing this image. You
Yeah,
literally.
it's pretty amazing. That
There
route.
is no supercharger network once you
No,
pretty much get through part of Mexico, but like, and even Alaska to,
and Canada, north of Canada, no supercharging.
yeah. So let's, just share, where did this vision come from? How did you even both of you connect? And I know obviously, one person wasn't able to join, but just, talk to me about this amazing story that, you guys were able to put together and go on. And seems like an adventure of a lifetime.
Yeah, well, it definitely was. Let me start, Oliver. So I was living in San Francisco, where I am right now, with my wife Anna, and I remember when we got here, I told her I don't want to fly back to Uruguay when it's time to return. I want to sail or to drive, and that idea was in my mind, and it started growing. And one day I bought a Model 3, and I say, is it possible to do this trip Uruguay to no San Francisco to Uruguay in a Model 3? And I'm a mechanical engineer. I start planning, seeing routes, ranges, and I don't know. The idea started growing and growing and growing, and then and what if we could do it Alaska to Ushuaia, the Pan American Highway, on electric cars, something that haven't been done on production electric cars. And at some point, I realized it was difficult but possible. And I told my wife we were going to do it, and she didn't believe me, of course. And I think it was so epic. I called Oliver. Oliver, I'm doing this. Please help me film parts of the trip. What camera should I bring? I don't know anything about film. And I remember I called Oliver, and he, okay, let me think about it. And then he called me the other day and said, Martin, I'm coming with you. There's no way you're doing by yourself. I have to be part of this adventure. And then Oliver, tell your part of the story.
Well, yeah, I know Martin already for a long time, from the sports, from the kiteboarding. Yeah, we know each other for 15 years or more. And personally, I was changing my path in my career from filming like commercial productions to producing more documentaries and something more with a purpose. And yeah, this call from Martin came at the right time. And yeah, I just had one night to think about it. I was, yeah, this is the perfect opportunity to create something that outstands from the normal documentaries, while breaking a record and showing that it's possible to cross a whole continent in electric cars. So yeah, it was a easy decision for me actually.
Yeah, and then he told me, and I also Tuti, who of course I know, Oliver's girlfriend. She's studying environmental studies in London and working for the UN. So like everything was a perfect match. Like Oliver, like the adventure, the idea I had with Oliver filming it, but having some sustainability in the background, or more than that. Like today, I think the most important part of what we did is the sustainability part of the adventure. So it was pretty amazing. I also remember say, well, with one car is difficult, with two, what? Oh, I have to plan this again now.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did it.
we'll get into insane stories. I saw a little bit of some of the stuff you guys would post, like flat tires to, finding random places to just charge a car. But yeah, having two cars, especially a Model X, obviously we know like just eats through the kilowatts. But yeah, we'll get into all that stuff. Okay, so you have this amazing idea. It was kind of a joke. You called Oliver and his girlfriend, and obviously he had just one night, and it sounds like he was also somewhat in transition, so it's just perfect. So what was next? Like, take us through that, like, because I think some of the places that you stayed were just mind-blowing. They were so beautiful. Like, how did you create, like, even start logistically going through stuff and even thinking through, like, how are you going to charge your car? Like, it's not, and some of these places, I would love to know what, the time it took you to charge the longest, as far as like, because you only have a little, a little cable.
Days, literally days.
Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, in the beginning, like we spent a lot of time planning for this, like seeing which routes, how to charge, where to charge, and of course there are no superchargers most of the roads we were in, but we had options. The best things about electric cars, you can charge in any outlet. You have to have patience. And 12 amps, the Model X may take 7 days to charge from 0 to 100. So this was it can take a lot of time. And our main goal, or my main responsibility in every place we got, was how to make that time in one night or 2 nights. And I think we were pretty successful doing that. We just had a couple of times that we didn't have to wait for charge, like to leave for charging. Like we stay in places because we had to film or we have to work, but charging was was never the what kept us in a place. Of course, sometimes we had 5 days, so we didn't have to worry about charging fast. Some places we had to leave in the other morning so we could get to a destination. So it required a lot of plugging directly to the breakers, asking for people if we could do it, making outlets that work for an RV parks. Yeah, it was pretty insane, that part, but it was doable. We did it.
Yeah. And what is the aspect? So obviously, this is just an epic journey in itself. You're proving a lot wrong. So what was kind of, I think, there's that aspect of sustainability and kind of a myth and a misnomer that you wanted to kind of disprove. What was kind of behind that, or what gave you the vision? Is that something you had always kind of thought of, like, I want to do a trip that's going to just show like how EVs and electric vehicles can work? Or is that something that, again, when you wanted to go back, you kind of just knew you wanted to do something different?
Well, I think it definitely didn't start that way. It started like I want to do an epic adventure, just to be super honest. But then what we realized, what we're doing could bring a message to a lot of people. And of course, with Oliver and with Tutti, that started to be the most important part of our project. Breaking a record, it was cool. Having traveling, it was cool. But maybe we strongly believe that EVs makes the difference to the world. I was in Mexico or in I think it was in Guatemala. There's some days you cannot drive cars because there's so much contamination that they don't let you drive the license plates that end with a 3 or with a 4. And why? Because it's bad for the environment and from health. So I think EVs they are much better for the environment. So it didn't in my case it didn't start that way, but it definitely grow up in me, and now I think that's the most important part of what we did.
Okay, and I wanted to take a break just to kind of, so I wanted to show a short film on specifically, about kind of what y'all experienced, pretty much more probably on the action side, but just a little quick short film on, what the trip looked like. So let's look at it. Yeah, I mean, I just watched that. I get chills just because it's, I think, I thought you were having more fun just literally, with all of the stuff you had booked. Because I thought, this wasn't just the trip from, Alaska all the way again down to Patagonia. I mean, you had everything lined up and planned, like adventures, clearly, various things that you wanted to look at. So, how did you go through? So as you were planning it, like how did you figure out and decide on where to stop? And how did that like either make your trip longer or shorter? Like how did the planning go, if that makes sense?
I can start, then you can
Yeah.
continue, Oliver.
Yeah.
Like the first one, we have some like specific dates, not specific, but from June to December. Why? We had to start in June in Alaska because it was summer and batteries are better during with warm weather. And then we
Yeah.
had to finish in December, around December, because it was summer in Ushuaia, and so we had a better range. So we knew we had to travel between June and December. So and then second thing, we plan like the range. Okay, we can do 250 miles max per charge in average, and so we start planning like where will we charge during the trip, and after that comes okay, and now what we have to film, and then where Oliver comes in.
Yeah, it was what we have to film and what are the best places to do the sports we wanted to do. Being that kite surfing, paragliding, and surfing as the main sports. So yeah, depending on where we wanted to charge, we would see okay, we have a lake here, or we see the forecast, and we are adapt to those conditions to make the most out of it. And then yeah, Tuti on her side was doing a lot of research regarding sustainable individuals or organizations that are uh, doing the change in the world in terms of how they do things and promote their work. So yeah, that was kind of the plan and the logistic we were following.
Yeah, it started like a road trip. Then we had sports, but in the end, I think that's what Tutti did. It was super for me. It was super inspiring. Finding great people, amazing companies, uh, NGOs that are doing incredible thing for all of us, and they don't. Most of them don't, that they we don't know about it. We hear a lot about the bad thing that happens in the world, but we don't have any news people doing great stuff. I don't know why, because maybe it doesn't sell it that much, but there are incredible people doing amazing work, and this is what we want to show in the documentary, like the work of those individuals, of those groups of peoples, of even those companies like Tesla, like that, what they're doing. Yeah, they like the mission of Tesla is quite clear, and it's not building cars. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think again, what you did and the to be able to kind of put 6 months aside of your life to go on this epic journey to really tell a message is really inspiring because I think unfortunately, we're here for such a short period of our lives, right? It just snaps. Like I have kids that, I can't believe my oldest is turning 9 this Friday and just life goes by. And so for both of you to be able to, and obviously 2D as well, to be able to kind of do this epic journey and film it and then create really such an inspiring story to really tell. Because I think the big thing is too, is that y'all are doing this journey kind of really at the beginning of like when this transition's happening. Obviously, the transition's happening because of the stuff that Tesla did,
Absolutely.
but you're also doing it. You did the drive going through again, areas where there's no charging infrastructure specifically for EVs. And so I would love to just talk about, maybe what we could do is we could talk a little bit about like, what were some of the interactions you were getting from people as you were doing the drive, telling the story, especially in some of those really rural areas as you were going through like the Central America and all the way down. Especially, I mean, Tesla, as much as it's like kind of a big name brand, I think in the world, or at least, branding wise, they're not in every country that you essentially literally drove through. So, what was it like to be doing it in a Tesla, or like something they probably just saw on TV, and then it's like literally just going through a desert.
Yeah, I have a comment for that one. The most crazy thing was that in in the most random places, the only people who were paying attention on the car and knowing the brand were the little kids. Like all the kids were flipping out, like, "Oh, dad, there's a Tesla, Tesla!" And the dad was like, "What? What's a Tesla?" Like only the new generations really
That's true.
knew about the car, and they were actually going in the car because we were opening the doors for them and let them play around, and they knew all the specs and everything, so they did their own research. They are aware of what's happening, and they were actually teaching their dads and mom, like how the car works. They were saying, "Oh, let's go 0 to 60 miles in like 4 seconds," and the guy was like, "What? That's not possible." And the little kids were explaining that even, like, I don't know, in Ecuador, Peru, Chile, Argentina, like that was kind of mind blowing to me in a way.
Yes, it was. Yeah, like in every country they know about the existence of Tesla. Some people do, and some people like car enthusiasts would try to meet with us, and because something weird or new in most of the countries. Some of them already have Teslas. For example, Uruguay is amazing. We have, I think, around maybe almost 200 Teslas in Uruguay, and we are a super small country with 3 million people, 3.5 million people. And that's incredible that such a small country and has so many Teslas. But in the other hand, even in Alaska and Canada, like people were, "Are you nuts? What are you doing?" And they were, in a sense, they were right. There was not our expedition was not something easy. We didn't choose it because it was easy, but we did it because we thought it was possible. And if it was possible, I think people have less excuses to think of EVs to their day-to-day car. And that's for most of the time you won't need long range car. You need just 60, 100 miles a day max for most of the time. And if you want to travel to a road trip, well, then you need infrastructure. And I think we're in the point that beside the US or southern part of Canada, we're not ready yet. Okay, we need more infrastructure and fast charging. That's it. If you give in the south of Chile, from Chile to the south part of Chile, there is a route called Highway 5, and they have fast charger. So that was an easy part for us. It makes everyone's life so easy, and then there's no excuse at all to adopt an EV.
Yeah. No, yeah, it seems like especially through what the journey you took, I think you pretty much probably picked, obviously, what is it, that's like the longest connected route, I think, ever, or something like that.
I think there's one in Asia that is a little longer. It's not the longest in the world between Asia and I think it's Europe. I don't recall. It's not the longest, but it's a classic one. It's called the Pan American Highway. So it's so classic. People have done it in walking, running, bicycle, dirt bikes, horse, planes, but never with a production electric car. So, well, let's try to do it, and we did it.
Yeah, and I think Oliver kind of maybe mentioned it a little bit, but what was like the biggest thing or fake news or misinformation that you heard about electric vehicles as you were doing the drive, and kind of the message and story that you were able to tell really along the way?
Well, misinformation. Yeah, I got surprised once at the end of the journey, like in a little town in Argentina. Like, I don't know, a guy was looking at us like a little weird. He was a teenager, and then he asked us, you're the guys with the Tesla. And he looks at us and said, "Oh, no, no." He puts a bad face and goes away. And then I kind of heard him or something, and I think he was like kind of paranoid, knowing that the car can like record and control the information and all that kind of dilemma that they had. So yeah, that was kind of shocking a bit, but there's people caring about that as well, and that happened at the end of the journey.
Yes, another thing is like lithium batteries. They all, oh, oh, but this is not sustainable. You have lithium batteries and blah blah blah, and it's not true. And by the way, we visit a lithium mile in the desert of Atacama in the northern parts of Chile, just to know how what the process is. And I think that's something we have to work. Like people say, okay, but what happens after with the batteries afterwards? Okay, we take it from the car, we put it in a house, and they can be used for several years, and afterwards they can be recycled. Lithium is recycled. Today it's cheaper to just to mine it, but in the future it won't. Maybe it will be probably cheaper to recycle it. And that's, I think, something, for some reasons that I don't want to get into the causes, but I think we have a lot of misinformation about that. We people, okay, this is not that sustainable, and I don't think that's true.
Yeah, no, of course. So let's talk a little bit about the trip itself. What were some of the top highlights? I mean, I think as we can clearly see, this was I believe probably in Alaska, but really, your journey took you from like polar opposites, literally like from where there's only snow in Alaska to the desert, and just I think this is probably I think Tootie took this one. This is probably, or Oliver, you took this one. This is probably my favorite photo, just because to be able to have a bear in front of the Tesla. I don't know how you stage that, but
Well, it's fake. It's fake.
exactly.
No, no. No, we had a photographer invited for the first part of the trip, so that made it easier for us. So I was in the back filming outside of the car, like with the
Yeah.
hands outside. Tuti was driving, and Martin was driving the Model 3 in front of the bear, and our friend, the photographer, was doing the picture from
Yeah.
from Martin's car to the
Yeah.
back.
Wow. So did you have to say, Martin, slow down?
No, we stopped completely because the bear was just like hanging out there at the highway and eating something on the side, and we stopped to film it, and I was filming, and Mateo was doing the photography, and the guy got really really close to the car, and I was with the open window, like 2 3 like meters from the bear, and it was really, yeah, majestic.
Yeah, the sightseeing of the trip was incredible. Like you said it, like Alaska is no desert, uh, trees. It was like it was incredible. It was incredible, and having a filming crew with us, of course, Oliver part of the crew, and having everything on film, man, I still can't believe we did it.
Yeah, I mean, again, going from there and then here, you're just in a desert. So it's just like one extreme to the next. So where is this?
Atacama is the desert of Atacama, crossing from the north of Chile to Argentina, if I'm right. And in the back you will see all the salt lakes. I don't know if
Yeah,
there's a specific word for that, but like, which was this specific experience was crazy because we were driving the highway, and we saw this white in the back, and we said, "Oh, it's really close by. Let's get into the desert. Let's drive. We get to there to take some pictures." And we were driving. We were like 2 miles in the desert, and it was like, dude, this thing is not coming closer. Like, let me put the drone up. I was putting the drone up, and as soon as I got higher and higher, I saw that the salt lake was like, I don't know, 10, 20 miles away, and we were not close at all, and we was losing the range, like driving in sand. So yeah, basically after that, it was one of the hardest parts of the trip, because we drained our batteries trying to get to the salt lake.
yeah, and we're supposed to get to a town with a level 2 charger in Argentina called San Antonio de los Cobres, and we couldn't make it because we drained our range. It got cold, so like if we did everything that we were not supposed to, but I think this image was worth it.
Yeah, it was
And
worth it, man.
yeah,
Definitely.
and we couldn't make it, and then we decided to stop by some place to charge in the middle of the route, and we stopped in a village of, I don't know, 20 homes, 20 houses, with it was incredible, and people help us. We could charge the cars, both cars, and that's not easy. I remember I was talking to the woman who handled it's not a hostel, the hostel we were staying. It was a community hostel in town. It was super high altitude, 13,000 feet in altitude, so super high. And I told her, hey, I have to charge here. I have to put the and she told me, hey, I have no idea what you're talking about. Do you know what you're doing? I said, yes, I know. Do whatever you want. So and then she let us plug directly to the breakers, and we could charge the cars overnight and continue the other day early in the morning.
Yeah, we were feeling like really bad because of the
Oh
altitude.
yes, we
And
couldn't sleep.
I kited like on a salt lake, like on the high altitude, and after that I was like, yeah, I was almost puking, like feeling really high, like a headache, and yeah, at the same time we needed to arrive and charge and film.
Yeah.
Why film that also? I was filming while Martin was doing the connections to have that. And we have a really sick image. I think we have it on the trailer. We'll see it later on.
Yeah.
Like both Tesla going out of that town with only like 30 houses at 5,000-meter altitude, like with a volcano in the back. It was like, where the heck
mind
are
blowing.
we? Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was mind blowing.
Yeah,
And something I wanna. I think we all think the most beautiful part of the trip was the people we met. In every place we went, people try to help you. People try to give you a place to sleep, where to charge. I drink mate. Okay, dude, you don't have mate? Here, you can have mine. Like people are amazing. People are amazing. And we always hear the opposite. I don't know why. And like we had some bad people, but I don't even remember them. Like it was people was the best part of the trip. Everywhere we went, from Alaska to Ushuaia.
Yeah, it was like again, I was kind of living through you as you were posting slowly, and maybe some of it was a little bit later, but it just seemed like some of the situations that you ended up in with issues with charging, kind of like what you just talked about when you were going through the desert for that epic photo. But it just seems like a lot of people were willing to help, and again, because you're driving through an area or a bunch of region where there is no fast charging, you really have to rely on people. And I think again, you had a couple of tires get flat, other stuff. But yeah, talk to me about maybe some of your top stories of how people helped you and really how that inspired you. And again, I want to show this photo of this was the team that went. We have Martin, Oliver, and Tootie. And so again, this looks like it's probably in the desert area, but these are the three that did this journey.
Yeah, Tutti in the middle. She's not here. Yeah, well, stories of charging. I don't know. I think the one I like the most is that one when the place, the Puesto Say that I just told, that she was, what we're doing? Oh, do whatever you want. And in other places, it was not as easy. I had, for example, in some hotels and places, we didn't have places to charge. So we had to call in advance and try to explain what we're doing. So imagine you're in the middle of Peru in a small town, and you have a mechanical shop, and someone calls you from nowhere and, hey, I'm Martin, I'm driving electric cars and I need to charge my car in your shop. So in the beginning, it was difficult, like people understand what we were doing. But as soon as they understood, they were, yes, come on, let's do it. We knew how much power because Tesla tells you, okay, and so we of course we always offer them to pay for the charging, most of the time they didn't even charge us. In some places, of course, they did, and we were glad to do it. But it was super difficult in the beginning to explain to someone who doesn't know you, doesn't know that electric cars exist, that we had to go to a place and charge. And yeah, we could do it.
Yeah, I think if my highlight will be in Baja California. We went to the south, in the Pacific coast. We met a group of surfers that we were there shooting for another project, They happened to be locals, sons of fishermen, and it was a fisher town of maybe 2,000 people. They all depend on the fish. And yeah, we broke our tires just before getting there, so we were running on a spare tire. And while we were filming, I kind of hit like the side of the road a bit, and one of the tires exploded. So yeah, I didn't have another extra tire to fix, so I went with a broken tire, driving slowly to one of the only mechanic that was in the area, which was really friendly. And we couldn't find a tire that fit the Tesla. It's for the Model X. It was like 20 feet, 20-inch, 20-inch big wheels. So yeah, we had to order the tire from Mexico City and wait for it to arrive. And yeah, what should we do in the meantime? Like we rented the house like far from the town, so we couldn't do anything if we didn't have a car, and we don't fit all of us in the Model 3. So yeah, the father of one of the surfers was so kind to just give me his car. He knew me that same day, and he was like, dude, like use my car, like use my car until you fix yours. You're here to film, to shoot with this crazy adventure, like go ahead, enjoy.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I was like, the first day I knew that guy, the father, and then the next day we were like having a dinner at his home with all like the other fishermen and the surfers, having like dinner at their place. And it's a family that they don't have like extra resources, let's say. No, they depend on the fish, and they were like making this big dinner for all of us and didn't expect nothing in return, and they were like so open and so kind with everything with us, that it was like kind of shocking.
Yeah, they say,
In a good way.
We were both on an off-grid place. I tried to charge with solar, but was not easy. At the end, I had to cut one of the plugs so we could use, and we had 240 volts there, so it was quite good. And the same happened to me. We're off grid, and then I asked the people who managed the place that we were if we could buy some fish, and so yeah, tomorrow, and then they came tomorrow and with the whole family, and they threw a party with that for us, and I tried to pay, and they were no, you guys are our guests, and people like surprise you like that. And in that town, like everyone was like extremely nice. It was incredible.
Yeah, and kind of similar in this situation. So first off, where did you get the spare tire? I want to know that. That's my first question. And then
they have this town. They have like it's run by a community. And they have one bus that goes once a week to a city to bring like groceries and spare tires and other stuff for the people. And so the mechanic was calling to another mechanic in another town and asking for the tire. And apparently we were lucky and we found one. And the bus was going like in 2-3 days. So yeah, we were happy to link it up and that we actually got it, because it could be that we spend there like 10 days waiting for a tire, bringing it from maybe from Mexico City, which is like you need to cross with a ferry and everything. Like it's not that easy.
And the problem started the day before. Like we were going from like a big town, the last supercharged in Baja. It's called Ensenada, and then we're going to a hotel with a destination charger. And as soon as we go out, mid morning, there was a road blockage. They were working, so we couldn't continue. And when they let us continue, it was already late. So it was getting dark. We're in the middle of the desert, and Oliver, I remember he called me in the radio. Hey, I have a flat tire, and then I have 2 flat tires. Okay, and there was a gas station. So okay, stop here. So he could stop and we didn't know that newbie for us. No, Model X, you have the perfect tires, but the inside, it weren't much quicker than the rest of the tire, and we were not aware of that. So we look at the tire, and for us it was perfect. It was not
on the outside, yeah.
But the outside was perfect. The inside of the car, it was yeah, of course. So it was, I think, almost night. So I was with my family and kids. By the way, part of the trip I did it with my wife and my, at the time, 0-year-old and 2-year-old Lorenzo and Mateo. So being in a desert with nothing around, with your family and small kids, was not the ideal situation, to say the least. Yeah, here they are. And but sometimes luck is in your. So I got the Model 3, and I went to another city and tried to look for tires that we could use in the Model X. And this is not first, it's not a tire that people use normally.
Yeah.
And we were in the middle of nowhere, and I could find two kind of use it, of course, use it, not new. And I brought it to the gas station. We call a mobile tire replacement guy who came in a truck, and he changed all the tires, and we could continue up in 3 hours. And for me, it was incredible. Could be really bad.
I have the pictures here if you want me to share the screen.
I don't think
No,
you
no.
can in this system. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want, you can. I think if there's something you specifically wanted to share, go for it.
No, it's just to. Okay.
And it was the first week of traveling with my family, and
And
and we had two flat tires.
oh man. Okay, so let me. I'm gonna add. Yeah. So Oliver, when you get that ready. But one question
It's ready. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it then. All right. So let's add it to the stream.
So there you go. Do you see it?
Yeah, we do.
It's low, it's small, but
Or yeah, you can open it and then it'll just click
Yeah,
on it.
I know, but it's not.
Okay.
not working.
Yeah, no worries. Well,
Let me check.
we can.
Like
Yeah.
this
Okay.
is
Okay.
this
No
is
worries.
internet. Like it was easier to get electricity to charge a
There
car
you got the.
than internet during the trip.
There you got it at the Pemex. You see the gas station. They're getting dark in the desert, like fixing the car.
That's insane. Especially to do it with little kids. But that actually brings me kind of to the next question, which I'm gonna show. What type of stuff did you encounter? Any tough road situations, and how did the cars perform? This is a question from our YouTube audience.
We can't believe the places we took the Teslas. Like I remember in Peru, Oliver. Of course, Model 3 is not the same. Model 3 is super like it's not a car for this kind of adventure. But we didn't have enough funding to buy two Model X, so we did it with the one we had, and it was okay, but it was not easy. But the Model X, we took it to off-road places that I still can't believe we did it, and we put it off. Remember Peru, Oliver?
Yeah, it's crazy. We went to a place that's called Punta Luna, which translates to tip of the moon, because it looks like literally like the moon, because there's only rocks and rocks and more rocks and mountains. And we were like going, the three of us, we left the Model 3 outside the park, and we went with the car, the three of us, plus all the gear, plus the trailer in the back, which was like really heavy. And yeah, it was incredible how the automatic the system of the wheels were independently doing the perfect traction to climb the mountain, like to climb the mountain with sand and rocks in between. So yeah, it was really surprising. And also I had one moment in Nicaragua where we were about to cross a river, and it was just the day before a heavy rain. It was really flooded, and all the cars were like stopping, like because they didn't want to cross the road. And I crossed that same road the day before, so I knew more or less how deep it was. But all the trucks and the locals were not going. I was like, fuck! I was the first on the line. I was like, fuck it, I'm going. I put I put it up, the suspension up, and I just went for it. Like, and it was like at the middle of the door, the water. It was like, and the car was going no problems at all. So yeah, it's impressive how off-road the Model X is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the part of the trip was in normal roads, but we because of filming or because of other reasons, we took them to any places, and it was like we took it to places that like a all-wheel drive, only all-wheel drive pickup would go, and they behave incredible.
Yeah, no, it's truly just inspiring to see kind of like the trip and where you were able to take it. And but yeah, no, that's amazing. So I think what was probably your hardest place to find charging? What was the biggest hiccup that was way unexpected? Or maybe that's two questions. So maybe like, what's your worst charging experience? And then we can get into what was something that was completely unplanned that you you were that was probably maybe the worst part of the trip. Maybe.
Well, I think the worst part was first. I think the worst was northern part of Peru, because it was the first country we had 220 volts, so we thought it was going to be easier. But then the grid was not 120 volts, and they don't have ground, so it was like all of the northern part of Peru was very, very difficult. We learned how to make ground in ways you wouldn't believe it. Literally putting a rock over a cable and putting some water to see if we had ground, like literally doing those kind of stuff, because the charger does not work, doesn't have ground, and we had to improvise at the moment. Also, we had problems at the beginning in northern part of Canada and Alaska. We're relying on 50 amps from the NEMA 1450, but most of the parks, because of COVID, were still closed. The RV parks were closed, so we didn't have 240 volts with 50 amps. We had 110, the TT30, and we didn't have that adapter, so we had to basically improvise also in the border in a town called Talk before we crossed to Canada. And we had to improvise a lot of YouTube, a lot of some risk, because you never know when you plug something you just made if you're gonna blow up and fry your car. So I was not feeling very, very well that day, but yeah, we could solve it and we could continue. I don't know if
in Peru also. I remember. One day, Martin was sick, and I went to do the connection to a mechanic, and it was the first time that we entered to a country which they have like the three different kind of current. I don't know how it's called, the trifásica.
Yeah,
you have three times like 110 volts, so it's 400 volts. And I plugged it in like in the way we did it in the other countries, it was working, and we kind of burned the charger in the middle of nowhere, and we had to adapt everything to make it work with the spare one, which was a destination charger, like the wall charger that you put in your home. We were going with that one, with that extension, like trying to plug it in different places. And then in Argentina, in a hotel, like there was the only place we could charge, and the car was downstairs, and I didn't have a plug, so I had to go outside the window from the 5th floor and like throw a really long cable from my room to the car, like this, poof, to be able to charge it from my room to the parking lot. That was crazy.
We had a lot of extension cords.
Well, I imagine, and that's probably something you packed with you, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We had almost everything for any kind of situation that we could face. And I remember that I went to the Home Depot. Okay, let's buy this and this and this and this just in case. And Oliver, are you sure we need all of those stuff? Like, it's heavy, it's expensive, and I think, well, we have to have options. And I remember at some point you thought, oh man, you were right. I'm glad you bought everything, because we ended using almost everything, and but they work.
Well, maybe this isn't we'll see. Let's see how, because I don't know if you would ever plan a trip like this, but again, if you were to do this trip again, what are some things that like you would do different or bring next time?
An RV? Nah. The RV. Well, I promised my wife I was not going to do this again. But I'm number 394 for the Cybertruck. And Cybertruck is adventure, so who knows?
But what are some things that you think? So the Cybertruck obviously would do really well in some of these situations, but is there anything that you wish you could have brought or would do differently? Maybe even a different route, like maybe you took maybe going a little bit further out, or how would you potentially even change your trip?
No, I would say more adapters, more cords than you ever expect to use, more chargers, like more spare chargers,
Spare tires.
and more spare tires.
Yeah.
That would be the one, because we took with us, but it was not enough at some point.
Yeah.
We need you, and every country you enter, there's a different plug, so you have to be prepared for like 15 countries with different plugs, and sometimes it's Sunday and there's no store to buy it, and you lose a day or so.
Yeah. Let alone an adapter store, right? Because especially
Yeah,
areas, they're not going to have like conversions.
exactly.
I think what I would do a little slower than we did. I think in at most part of most places we went, like we had to say goodbye to people, and we didn't want to. We could spend a couple more days in every place.
Yeah.
I'm not saying 10 days, but a couple of more days. It was a super quick and it was quite extreme the piece we took. But I would do it a little slower, a month more longer the trip. Yeah.
Yeah. Another kind of question is somewhat similar to that. It would be, how did you estimate the range on your Tesla for unmapped roads? Shout out to Julian for this amazing question, like especially the altitude gradients, Peru mountains, and Patagonia.
Well,
That's a very good question.
yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice in Alaska, Canada, and the US. You put
car does it
go
for
to
you.
point A to point B, and you get the estimate on how much you're gonna drain your battery. So yeah, as soon as we went out of Mexico, I think Mexico also works.
Yeah.
We
Correct.
started to calculate it by ourselves, and the most important factor is the altitude. Like that was a
Yes.
really important factor, and not only the altitude on the end point, but also in the middle point.
The highest ground.
The highest peak on the route. And I have a story like where while crossing from Lima to the jungle in Peru, you have to go across the Andes, and that's like 15,000 feet, I think. It's the highest railroad in the world. And when we were going back, I arrived to the highest peak with only like 30 miles range, and I was like 120 miles away from Lima.
Casi no hay batería.
So
2%.
well, I'm okay. Sorry. So yeah, I was okay. We made the calculations. We were good to go. So yeah, let's go for it. And as soon as we were starting going down, the battery started to charge, and we ended up with like 60 miles plus when we arrived to Lima.
That's good.
That was really crazy.
Yeah, like altitude, different in altitude. So we had to study not only the distance, but the altitude profile of the route to see if we could do it. We had some tools to do that. So we first of all distance. Second of all, okay, where's the highest point of the trip, and we got very good estimating what was going to happen. But in Argentina, for example, we faced another problem: high winds. So if we had to go from one point to the other against the wind, super high winds.
We were looking at the forecast a lot. Yeah.
So we had to look at the forecast, how the wind was going to do, and use everything to plan. And I think we had a very we got very good in range anxiety. Now it's not a problem to arrive with zero anymore. But at some times things change. For example, when it gets cold, batteries does not work that well. And if you don't have that in consideration, well, it can be a problem.
Yeah, and also the hyper mileage. We were really good at finding trucks going at a decent speed and driving like really close to their
Oh
butt,
man.
like for hours like that. And the mile range will go like like really up. So it
Yeah,
was really
well,
helpful. And some limit situations we were only available to pull it off because we were doing that like for
yeah.
several hours.
And remember, in one crossing of the Andes, from the jungle in Ecuador, we had to go super high, and we didn't. We thought we were not going to do it, so we even like we turned the mirrors in, just that
Yeah,
maybe was 1 mile, but maybe that mile would save us.
and
And
also the air condition is also
yeah,
a
oh,
lot
no
of.
air conditioner, of course, like and no air conditioner, but close windows, because
Oh.
open windows. Yeah,
Um,
it was.
did you run out of range at any one point?
One time, once, but it was not our fault. No, it's always our
Yeah,
fault. No,
Miscalculation.
it was a crossing from Chile to Argentina, and we asked how is the route, and they told us, "No, that route is very good." It was not at
no,
all.
but it was not that. It was because we didn't. We could have done it perfectly if we fully charged,
Oh
but
yeah,
for that we needed to wait like another day because the border was closing. So
it was
we
the
said,
perfect
okay,
storm.
should we risk it or should we just go a day after and do it safe? And because the family of Martin was arriving, we didn't have that choice but to go because otherwise they would arrive and they will be like alone in the airport.
Yeah,
So yeah, we went ahead and risked it, and we just 10 miles before arriving, like yeah, the Model X, yeah, I had to stop
yeah.
and wait in the middle of the nowhere.
But with all of that, I thought we were going to. I was the responsible of making that decision, and so it was my mistake. Okay, because I said, okay, we have 50% more of range than what we need. I think that's okay, that's fair enough, but it was not, because the road was so bad. We had to go super slowly, take times with gravel. It was gravel road, so with a gravel road, the range behaves super bad. So gravel road at night, cold. Uh, and then I could, the Model 3, I had more. It, Model 3 has less range, but it charged much faster than the Model X. So I don't know which one is better for road tripping. In my case, I could get to the charger with 0% at 12 p.m. at night. 12 a.m. at night, and then the other car was like 10 miles away, and we had to rescue it, and it was part of an adventure. It was fun. But it was totally yeah, totally my fault.
Here's another awesome photo. But like your stories, this trip is just so inspiring. Especially, it sounds like you met some amazing people that were willing to help. You were able to also, tell a story. Being able to take really the future ahead, right? Especially into some of these countries where, again, they had never seen a Tesla, or more important, probably didn't even have electric vehicles. But what are some big takeaways that you want to leave? Like, if people watch this story or listen to this podcast, or this live stream, what do you want people to take away? What, and it partially goes back to like, why did you do all of this? But maybe both you and Oliver can just answer, from your point, what would you like people to take away?
Yeah, I would like people to take it as an example, as an inspiration, as a motivation to go and pursue what they really want to do in life, and to go for it, and to know also that there is no only gray or dark in the world. There's a lot of light, a lot of shiny people, let's say, uh, and that you can have fun also doing good stuff, and also that you don't need to have everything set to start. You need to start. That's the first thing you need to do, and you're never gonna have everything perfect to do the first step, but it's important that you do it, and I think that's the main message that we wanna provide.
I totally agree with Oliver. This was a trip that was not supposed to happen. Like, we didn't have the budget to do it. We didn't have the time. Like, for example, when I planned the trip, I didn't have kids. I didn't have kids, and then I had Mateo. Oh, so I kind of course, suspended, canceled the trip, the adventure.
Yeah.
But then maybe it's possible. So we decided to do it, and yeah, maybe it's possible. And then COVID hit. Okay. And by the way, Oliver and Tutti came to San Francisco in February 2020 to film to what would be,
Wow.
and we were going to start the trip in June of 2020, and then COVID hit. So
I didn't
again,
know that. I did not know.
yeah, again, like, of course, not what happened. But can we do it? Of course not. Okay, cancel. And then during COVID, I had a second COVID kid, Lorenzo. So now with two kids, I don't know if this is possible.
Yeah.
But like, sometimes you have to be a little obsessed. Sometimes you have to just take one step, just take the first step, like Oliver said, and do it. We didn't, by any chance, we had everything figured out. We did plan a lot. We did. I was sure we could do it, range wise and with the cars. We had some risk, but it was doable. But of course, nothing was right. I have a super now funny story, but at the moment it was super stressful. We had to go to start from Alaska. We had to go to Alaska and ship the cars to Alaska, and we didn't have the budget to do it. It was like $12,000 to ship the cars, or each car, and it was like, oh man, how we gonna do it? Okay, credit card, whatever. We had a rule. We'll figure out how we're gonna do it. And then I start trying to find ways to make it cheaper. So I realized I could drive to Tacoma and then ship the cars from Tacoma instead of a truck in San Francisco. But it was like $6,000, even that. It was super expensive per car. And I remember seeing on the website of the shipping company, if you have like a nice project, if you're an NGO, please tell us what you're doing. So I did. And it was incredible because I in my mind, I pressed send and I received a call. Hey, I'm Martin. Are you Martin? Yes, we want to learn what you're doing. And in the end, they gave us for free. It was towed marine. And so they have the only ships that when they got to the port, they turn off the engines and they plug it to the electricity, so they don't contaminate that much. So it was like, wow, man, I can't believe it. Like, this is exactly what we needed. But we decided to do it. But then sometimes many times life helps you.
Yeah, you need to plan a lot, that's for sure, but then you need to start moving, and once you start moving, things will start to happen by itself. If you stay seated and planning, like, it's definitely not gonna happen.
Well, this is awesome. So I'm going to end with your 5-minute trailer. But the description for the YouTube, and also the handles are tagged. Feel free to obviously check out Electric Americas. This is what Martin, Oliver, and Tutti did. It was truly inspiring. I think I was so thankful to have met you, and we were happy that we were able to donate some towards the cause, because I think it was a huge deal to get your message out, and we're truly just thankful for you to be a part of our community and really the broader Tesla community. So we're gonna end with this video. Again, I'll play it for, I think it's 4 minutes and 50 seconds, and we'll just end after that. But Martin, Oliver, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for, really putting, a portion of, or a year or two of your life to really get this, your life aside, to really just get this message out. Because like I said, going 20,000 miles over 6 to 7 months, and in doing everything that you did was just really cool to just, and really just showcases that you really can take an EV anywhere. It's so thank you for that.
John, thank you. Since we got in contact the first time, you were always supporting us. And one of the reasons we did it with Tesla, I'm not kidding, is because Tesla has a community of people that helps you. And we receive that help in many times. And you're one of the drivers of that community. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks,
But yeah, and then actually, I think I don't know, Oliver, if you're in the area, but Martin, if you're free, we have an event, Beers, Tacos, Teslas on Saturday. So feel free to.
If I'm not if I'm not loading the container on Saturday, that I think I will, I will be there, of course.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. Well, yeah, thank you again. Again, the link is in the bio, or the handles are tagged if you're watching on Twitter. But follow their awesome journey. Check out the documentary, and we'll play this video now. So
thanks so much.
It's in the making.
3%. Casi no hay batería. 2%. ¿Y dónde está el punto de carga? 1%. Se está agotando. ¿Dónde está el punto de carga? Nos estamos agotando. ¿Cómo se recarga el ser humano? Haciendo el deporte más extremo en el lugar más peligroso del mundo. Embarcando a tus hijos en la aventura más importante de tu vida. Navegando solo con el viento del Caribe para no tomar un avión desde Panamá a Colombia. Intentando desafiar los límites. Cumpliendo un sueño. Hay muchas formas de recargarse. A veces es necesario volver a la fuente.
En el año 95 vivía en Estados Unidos y eran los 30 años de Mustang. Y decía, me hubiera encantado tener un auto y volver manejando Uruguay. A los años volví a Estados Unidos con Ana Inés y cuando aterricé le dije, yo no voy a volver en avión, va a ser o navegando o manejando. Así que acá estamos. A Oli lo conozco de los deportes extremos y él tiene el talento de ver el mundo de esa perspectiva y lo filma de esa manera.
Soy Oliver, apasionado de los deportes extremos. Es esa actividad que me hace estar conectado con la naturaleza, conmigo mismo, jugar con los elementos, estar presente, volando por el aire, surfeando una ola, buceando. Es ahí cuando me siento conectado con el todo.
Poder compartirlo con mi compañera de vida, la verdad que es increíble.
Soy Tuti, soy geógrafa, me interesa mucho explorar, conocer lugares, las diferentes personas que habitan los lugares y cómo los habitan, las actividades que hacen y cómo impactan en el ambiente.
Cuando las energías se encuentran, potencian un plan.
Viajar desde Alaska a la Patagonia.
Por la ruta del Pacífico,
Pero en vehículos eléctricos.
¿Dónde ponemos nuestra energía?
El mundo es finito y como sociedad estamos agotando sus recursos. Eso no es noticia, pero hay mucha gente haciendo cosas para evitarlo, para cambiarlo, y eso sí debería ser noticia.
Using the sails that would give us so much joy out in the ocean and making that into a product was a great way just to share the values of nature, of sports, of joy, of friendship and many other things.
Las condiciones de kite llevaron a que esto se transforme en un parque nacional, a que biólogos puedan venir y estudiar este área que es totalmente virgen.
Use that information to advocate for the conservation of animals and places.
Yo creo que el surf en sí es un deporte que te hace ser una persona con un estilo de vida más consciente.
Surfers can actually be a huge constituency for conservation at large. So protecting a wave protects all this other really important biodiversity.
Esa conexión contigo y la naturaleza, esa es diversión, ¿sabes?
Somos una especie dentro de este planeta. Una sola especie.
You're going to need to do a lot of things to inspire people and to get them to see that it's possible.
Cuando les empiezas a mostrar a la gente lo que hay en el mar, luego de ahí se empiezan a interesar en él y eventualmente terminan haciendo pequeñas acciones que protegen directa o indirectamente al mar.
La naturaleza continúa, la Tierra va a continuar. Si nosotros no estamos de acuerdo con ella, nos elimina. Entonces esa es la idea, ¿no? Seguir adelante con ella.
Un nuevo mundo, un nuevo inicio de vida.
Y está cargando el auto.
Muy despacito.
Wow, tears. They have tears. Well, thanks so much.
I was mute there, but no, thank you again for sharing your journey. Thank you again for coming live. Go to electricamericas.org, check them out. And also too, do you have any information on when it's released or if the full docu-series is out now?
No, we are currently doing the post-production. We are working on the first episode, and yeah, we're also looking for purchase, like for distributors and people to buy it and distribute it. But I believe everything will come together, and I will be able to have 8 episodes for November, let's say November, December this year.
If
Awesome.
if any company or people wants to be a part of this journey now, please get in touch with us. We would definitely need that help, and maybe someone wants to be part of this.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Thank you, Martin and Oliver. I appreciate it.
Thank you all.